Hey guys, Handy Capable Gamer back here with you today, and I'm bringing you my review of Loading Human Chapter 1. This was a game I was actually looking forward to, because I'm a big fan of emotional stories in games, and based on the trailers and media coverage I had seen, that was one of the biggest things this game had to offer as a VR title. Now that I have played it, I feel that it is a game that has a lot of potential, but fails in its execution. And here's why. Loading Human is an episodic adventure game similar to the likes of Telltale games or Life is Strange. It was released as one of the first PlayStation VR titles to feature an episodic adventure format. Being a gamer that enjoys a powerful story, the format alone was enough to get me excited for this game. In the game, the character you play as is trying to save his dying father, who calls him to the Antarctic Research Facility, and your mission is to travel into space and locate a mysterious energy source that can save your father's life. Now, without too many spoilers, the mission does not go as planned, and the events of the game raise more questions than answers. The story is intriguing, and can easily keep players engaged if it wasn't for the glaring technical difficulties. First and foremost, we have the visuals. Certain aspects of the game environments do look appealing. And normally in PlayStation VR games, one can expect graphical quality to decrease when looking at something farther away. But in Loading Human, one of the first things I noticed was that objects that were closest to my view were actually the blurriest. For example, there were times when I'd be looking at a computer monitor, and the text would get so blurry I wouldn't even be able to read what I needed to do. I know this wasn't attributed to my setup, because I haven't experienced this with any other game. Being that Loading Human is a game that's not just told through narrative, but also through datapads and environmental interaction, having a lack of visual clarity is a major problem. Aside from the visual issues that I had, another thing that broke me away from the game and kept me from being immersed was the audio, which appeared to not be in sync with facial movements of the characters. Normally, I could let this slide, as I know not every game has the budget to do AAA motion capture, but not only were the movements out of sync, the audio also cut out from time to time. I didn't find anything spectacular in terms of the sound effects the game had to offer, and the soundtrack definitely didn't stick with me. So I feel that a better job could have been done on sound design. Now we get to the meat of the issues that this game has, and it's related to the gameplay itself. Loading Human doesn't offer a teleportation system, and instead goes for locomotion, which would normally be a good thing. But since this game is designed to be controlled using the Move controllers, it creates a plethora of problems. The player moves forward by pressing down on the Move button with your thumb and holding the Move controller in the direction you want to go. So if you want to go forward, you hold the Move controller out in front of you and hold down the Move button. If you want to go backward, you hold the Move controller behind you and hold down the Move button. That part works okay, except for the fact that tapping the Move button and pointing left or right is how you turn your character. So oftentimes, I would be trying to walk forward and would accidentally turn. Crouching is accomplished by pointing the Move controller at the floor and tapping the Move button. This works, but sometimes I had to press it twice to get a response. You grab items in the game by using the triggers, as you would in many other VR games. One problem I encountered is while playing from a seated position, sometimes my hands would not grasp items even when my hand was directly over the top of it. Now this may seem like an overly negative review, and quite frankly, it is, but I haven't gotten to the biggest problem yet. The most difficult issue I had to deal with while playing this game was my arms moving erratically and becoming completely uncalibrated despite me standing perfectly still. And I know we're in the early days of VR, but it was to an unacceptable level. At certain points, the arms would become so uncalibrated, they would be facing behind me even when my character would be moving forward. And even from the moment I started the game, the arm animations appeared to be bending in an unnatural and somewhat disturbing position. Despite having an interesting concept and a story that could be compelling, the narrative was completely overshadowed by the overly broken mechanics. I wanted to enjoy this game, and I kept looking for redeeming factors, but I came away from my time spent with it burdened by my thoughts of spending minutes on end trying to recalibrate my character and reposition the arms, and walking in one direction while inadvertently walking in another. I commend the developers for attempting to do something original in virtual reality. However, the poorly implemented mechanics, boring environments, and high price tag make Loading Human Chapter 1 a game that I cannot in good conscience recommend. However, if you can get past the movement system and its glitches, you may find some enjoyment in the title. It just wasn't for me. So I'll post the link in the description for anyone that's still interested in purchasing the game. All in all, I was depressed by what the 3 to 4 hours of Loading Human had to offer. And I can honestly say that I don't see myself going back when Chapter 2 is released. Well, that's all I have for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Follow me on Twitter, and check out my Patreon. Those links will be posted in the description. And if any of you guys have games you'd like me to discuss, feel free to leave it in the comments. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.